saying, the king of Moab have rebelled against me. He didn't want to pay tribute no more. Wilt thou go with me against Moab to battle? And he said, I will go up. And I am as thou art. He said, we're like one. We ride together. And I will go up and I am as thou art. My people as thy people. And my horses as thy horses. And he said, which way shall we go up? And he answered, the way through the wilderness of Edom. So the king of Israel went, and the king of Judah, and the king of Edom, and the king of Edom. And they fetched a compass. And they fetched a compass of 7 days' journey. And there was no water for the host, and the cattle that followed them. And the king of Israel said, alas, the Lord hath called these 3 kings together to deliver them unto the hand of Moab. But Jehoshaphat said, is there not a prophet of the Lord, that we may inquire of the Lord by him? And one of the king of the Israel servants answered and said, here is Elisha, the son of Japhet, which poured water out on the hands of Elijah, said he served him. And Jehoshaphat said, the word of the Lord is with him. So the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat and the king of Edom went down to him. He said, before we go on this mission, we better inquire of a man of God to see if we should go on this mission. See what he said. And Elisha said unto the king of Israel, what have I to do with it? Remember, they're in full rebellion and idol worship. What have I to do with thee? Get thee to the prophets of thy father. So go to the false prophets you've been dealing with. See, they always want to, it's always a search for a real man of God going to tell you the truth when the situation is critical. They don't want to hear the BS soothsaying prophets to make you feel good and tell you what you want to hear. They want a real man of God who's going to be the unadulterated truth and no BS attached. My dad used to say, you ain't got to say a stick is crooked, son. Just lay a straight one next to it. People know the truth from the real word of God, a real man teaching the word of God when they hear it. Especially if they got sight to see light. Get thee to the prophets of thy father, and to the prophets of thy mother. And the king of Israel said unto him, nay, for the Lord hath called these 3 kings together to deliver them into the hand of Moab. Yeah, you want to hear that news. And Elisha said, as the Lord of hosts liveth, is the Lord of everything. And Jehovah Sabbath, before whom I stand, surely were it not that I regard the presence of Jehoshaphat. So the only reason I'm telling you this is because I have respect for one king, and that's Jehoshaphat. I wouldn't have said nothing to you. It would have passed you by. The king of Judah, I would not have looked toward thee, nor see thee. I wouldn't have said nothing to you. I'm going to let you go off and die. But now bring me a minstrel. And it came to pass when the minstrel played, it's a musical instrument. Music played, that the hand of the Lord came upon him. And he said, thus saith the Lord, make this valley full of ditches. But thus saith the Lord, ye shall not see wind, neither ye see rain, yet the valley shall be filled with water. It's the second miracle. Still dealing with water. He's saying, go dig a ditch, have some faith, and you're going to find some water in the ditch. And a cloud going to appear in the sky and give you no rain. That's going to create some springs here out of this dry land. That ye may drink, both ye and your cattle and your beasts. And this is but a light thing in the sight of the Lord. He will deliver the Moabites also unto your hand. And ye shall smite every fenced city, and every choice city shall fall, shall fail every good tree, and stop all the wells of the water, and mar every good piece of the land with stones. Saying, destroy the land, and typical of God, kill everything. And it came to pass in the morning, when the meat offering was offered, and behold, there came water by the way of Edom, and the country was filled with water. And when all the Moabites heard that the kings were come up to fight against them, they gathered all that were able to put on armor and upward. And they had everybody suit up, teenagers included, and stood in the border. And they rose up early in the morning, and the sun shone upon the water, and the Moabites saw the water on the other side as red as blood. And they said, "This is blood. The kings are surely slain, and they have smitten one another. Now therefore Moab to the spoil." God gave them an illusion. And when they came to the camp of Israel, the Israelites rose up and smote the Moabites, and they fled before them. But they went forward, smiting the Moabites, even in their country, chased them all the way back to their country. And they beat down the cities on every good piece of land, and cast every man his stone and filled it. And they stopped up all the wells of the water, and felled all the good trees, chopped down the trees. Only in Carsheth left they the stones thereof, howbeit the slingers were about it, and smote it. And when the king of Moab saw that the battle, see what I just said? Remember earlier I just said this is a war book. Haven't you experienced enough killing in this book by now to understand what Brother Jay was telling you is the truth? This ain't no fairy tale book. Well, every time I pick it up, somebody's dying. And when the king of Moab saw that the battle was too sore for him, he took with him 700 men that drew swords to break through, even unto the king of Edom, but they could not. Then he took his eldest son that should have reigned in his stead, and offered him for a burnt offering up on the wall. Figured if he sacrificed his son as pagan god, that'd give him some power. And there was great indignation against Israel, and they departed from him and returned to their own land. Now there cried a certain woman of the wives of the sons of the prophets unto Elisha, saying, Thy servant, thy husband, is dead, and thou knowest that thy servant did fear the Lord. And the creditor is come to take unto him my 2 sons to be a bondsman. Won't be able to pay our bills because he died. He was a breadwinner. And Elisha said unto her, What shall I do for thee? What can I do for you? Tell me, what hast thou in thy house? And she said, Thine handmaid had not anything in the house, save a pot of oil. So all I got is a pot of oil in my house. I have nothing to eat. Then he said, Go, borrow thee vessels from abroad, all thy neighbors. So he said, go borrow some containers. Container faith. Even empty vessels borrow not a few. And when thou art come in, thou shalt shut the door upon thee and upon thy sons, and shall pour out unto all these vessels, and thou shalt set aside that which is full. So she went from him and shut the door. Simple, obedient faith. See, when you act in faith and do what God tell you to do, you can't help but to get on tithes, offerings, tithes, first fruits, alabaster, do it God's way. See how he provides for you. So she went to him and shut the door, and up on her sons who brought the vessels to her, and she poured out. And it came to pass, when the vessels was full, that she said unto her son, Bring me yet a vessel. And he said unto her, There is not a vessel more. And the oil stayed. Then she came and told the man of God, and he said, Go, sell the oil and pay thy debt. Gave her surplus to pay off her bills. And he said, Go sell thy oil and pay thy debt, and live thou and thy children of the rest. Enough oil for you guys to get by. And it fell on the day that Elisha passed to Shunem, and there was a great woman, and she constrained him to eat bread. And so it was that as oft as he passed by, he turned in thither to eat bread. He had a house to go to eat. And she said unto her husband, Behold now, I perceive that this is a holy man of God, which passeth by us continually. See, she had a given spirit. What did I tell you and taught you guys that follow Street Preach? God loveth a cheerful giver. Giving to God's man is giving to God. That's how he looks at it. And he blesses you for it. Let us make a little chamber, I pray thee, on the wall, and let us set for him there a bed, and a table, and a stool, and a candlestick. And it shall be, when he cometh to us, that he shall turn in thither. That's also God looking out for his man. When you put God first, I'm a living testimony of God's provision for me over the years. God has really taken good care of me. And it might not even be the way that I thought it should go, but it always turned out a good way. Let's put it like that. When you put him first, he puts you first. And it fell on that day that he came thither, and he turned into the chamber and lay there. So they set up a little room for him, everything. And he said to Gehazi, his servant, Call this Shunammite. And when he had called her, she stood before him. And he said unto him, Say now unto her, Behold, thou hast been careful for us with all this care. What is to be done for thee? He said, What blessing do you want for this? You looked out for me. You looked out for God's man. What can I do for you? Wouldst thou be spoken for the king? Wilt thou be spoken for to the king or to the captain of the host? And she answered, I dwell among mine own people. And he said, What then is to be done for her? And Gehazi answered, Verily, she hath no child, and her husband is old. She's barren. And he said, Call her. And when he had called her, she stood in the door. And he said, About this season, according to the time of life, thou shalt embrace a son. So Elisha is going to bless him, or bless her, for her looking out for him with a son. See how God works? The Bible says God will give you the desire of your heart when you put him first. And he said, About this season, according to the time of life, thou shalt embrace a son. And she said, Nay, my Lord, thou man of God, do not lie unto thy handmaid. How much faith she had. And the woman conceived and bare a son at that season that Elisha said unto her according to the time of life. And when the child was grown, it fell on a day that he went out to his father to the reapers. And he said unto his father, My head, my head. So he had a head injury. And he said to the lad, Carry him to his mother. And when he had taken him and brought him to his mother, he sat on her knees till noon, and then died. So God blessed her with a child, and the child died. Now remember Jesus, like I said, Elisha's the type of Jesus, doing these type of miracles, resurrection miracles, under the power of God. But remember Jesus said, for this reason, the person died to show off God's power. Miracle faith. And when she went up and laid him in the field, and she went up and laid him on the bed of the man of God, and shut the door upon him, and went out. And she called unto her husband, and said, Send me, I pray thee, one of the young men and one of the asses, that I may run to the man of God and come again. And he said, Wherefore wilt thou go to him today? It is neither new moon nor Sabbath. And she said, It shall be well. Then she saddled up on an ass, and said to her servant, Drive and go forward, slack not thy riding for me, except I bid thee. She said, Go in a hurry, and don't slow down. So she went and came unto the man of God to Mount Carmel. It's amazing she found him. Nothing like a determined woman. That's one of my favorite sayings. And it came to pass, when the man of God saw her far off, that he said to Gehazi, his servant, Behold, yonder is the Shunammite woman. Run now, I pray thee, to meet her, and say unto her, Is it well with thee? You could tell something's wrong. Why would this woman be out here hunting me down? Is it well with thy husband? See, he knew there was something going on. Is it well with thy child? And she answered, It is well. And when she came to the man of God to the hill, she caught him by the feet. But Gehazi came near to throw her away. He was going to get off the man of God. He's the bodyguard. It's like when he was pressing up on Jesus, the disciples was his bodyguard. And the man of God said, Let her alone. Jesus said the same thing. Let her alone, for her soul is vexed within me. That was the woman that was pressing in to get healed by Christ on the front. And the Lord said, And the Lord hath hid it from me, and have not told me. So God didn't reveal this to him, what happened to her son. Then she said, Did I not desire a son of my Lord? Did I not say, Do not deceive me? She said, I wanted a son, and it's like, yeah, I got one, but he died. So it's like, that's even worse. Then he said to Gehazi, Gird up thy loins. Now this is a test of Elisha's faith. See how God brings things together? Now this is a test of his faith. Then he said to Gehazi, Gird up thy loins, and take my staff in thine hand, and go thy way. If thou meet any man, salute him not. And if any salute thee, answer him not again. And lay my staff upon the face of the child. So he's testing his servant. And the mother of the child said, As the Lord liveth, and as thy soul liveth, I will not leave thee. And he arose and followed her. She said, No, you come. I ain't going to leave this job to no rookie cookie. And I will not leave thee. And he arose and followed her. And Gehazi passed on before them, and laid the staff upon the face of the child. But there was neither voice nor hearing. He didn't have the power to do it. This is a test of Elisha's faith. Wherefore he went again to meet him, and told him, saying, The child is not awakened. And when Elisha was come into the house, behold, the child was dead, and laid upon his bed. He went in therefore, and shut the door upon them both. He went in by himself, closed them out, and prayed unto the Lord. And he went up and lay upon the child. Oh, you can imagine news media now. Minister lays on top of child on bed while he's dead. Oh, that'd be a good story for XYZ news media, fake news media. And he went up and lay upon the child, and put his mouth upon his mouth. Oh no. Oh, you can imagine. Just imagine in today's climate. You know, rightfully so. In this climate, there's just too much of that crap going on. Don't let me I digress. And he went up and lay upon the child, and put his mouth upon his mouth, and his eyes upon his eyes, and his hands upon his hands. So he covered him with his body. And he stretched himself upon the child, and the flesh of the child waxed warm. Then he returned and walked in the house to and fro, and went up and stretched himself upon him. And the child sneezed 7 times. So the breath of life came back in him thanks to what Elijah did. The child was resurrected. I think this is the first, as I recall, the first resurrection recorded in the Bible. It was Elisha. It said he's the type of Christ with his miracles. He had double the miracles. I think Elisha did 7, he did 14, if I'm not mistaken. And the child sneezed 7 times, and the child opened his eyes. And he called Gehazi and said, call the Shumanite. So he called her, and when she was come in unto him, he said, take up thy son. Then she went in and fell at his feet, and bowed herself to the ground, and took up her son and went out. And Elisha came again to Gilgal, and there was dearth in the land. It was a drought. And the sons of the prophets were sitting before him. And he said unto his servant, set on the great pot, and seethe the pot for the sons of the prophets. And one went out into the field to gather herbs, and found a wild vine, and gathered thereof wild gourds, his lap full, and came and shred them in the pot of pottage, for they knew them not. So he went and got these poison herbs. You gotta be careful what you grab out the field. I remember my uncles were special forces. They used to take me up to the mountain and show me how to live off the land, what plants you could eat, what plants looked edible that was poison that you thought you could eat. So they poured out for the men to eat. And it came to pass, as they were eating of the pottage, that they cried out and said, O thou man of God, there is death in the pot. And they could not eat thereof. But he said, then bring meal. And he cast it into the pot, and he said, pour out for the people, that they may eat. And there was no harm in the pot. So he cured the poisonous pot. And there came a man from Baalshazzar, and brought the man of God bread of the first fruits, 20 loaves of barley, and 4 ears of corn in the husk thereof. And he said, give unto the people, that they may eat. And his servant said, what should I set before 100 men? Remember the miracle of Christ? The 2 fish and 5 loaves? And the apostle said, this ain't going to feed. First it was 3,000, then the next crowd was 5,000. We ain't going to feed these people with 2 fish and 5 loaves. Told you Elisha's the type of Christ, in the Old Testament. Even the miracles are seen. He said, give unto the people that they may eat. And his servitor said, what shall I set before 100 men? And he said again, give to the people. So you can take with your little, and God can bless it, and feed a multitude with it. It's obedient, simple faith. And he said again, give to people that they may eat. For thus saith the Lord, they shall eat, and shall leave thereof. And he set it before them, and they did eat, and left thereof, according to the word of the Lord. It was leftovers. Now Naaman, captain of the host of the king of Syria, was a great man with his master, and honorable, because by him the Lord hath given deliverance unto Syria. He was also a mighty man in valor, but he was a leper. And the Syrians had gone out by companies, and had brought away captive out of the land of Israel a little maid, and she waited on Naaman's wife. And she said unto her mistress, Would God my Lord were with the prophet that is in Samaria, for he would recover him of his leprosy. She said, if you can connect with this prophet, you'll be healed of your leprosy, your husband. And she said unto her mistress, Would God my Lord were with the prophet that is in Samaria, for he will recover him of his leprosy. And one went in and told his Lord, saying, Thus saith the maid that is in the land of Israel. And the king of Syria said, Go to, and I will send a letter unto the king of Israel. And he departed and took with him 10 talents of silver and 6,000 pieces of gold and 10 changes of raiment. And he brought the letter to the king of Israel, saying, Now when this letter is come unto thee, behold, I have therewith sent Naaman my servant to thee, that thou mayest recover him of his leprosy. And it came to pass, when the king of Israel had read the letter, that he rent his clothes and said, Am I God? He said, Am I God to kill and to make alive? He said, What kind of miracle are you asking me to do, man? See what kind of faith he had. He said, Am I God to kill and make alive, that this man does send unto me to recover a man of leprosy? You had leprosy. They had leper colonies. Normally it was very highly contagious. And it was incurable. A very horrible skin disease. Wherefore consider, I pray you, and see how he seek a quarrel against me. He said he's trying to set me up. He's sending me all this gold, silver, and asking me for a miracle, knowing because I can't deliver on this. And he said, and it was so. When Elisha, the man of God, had heard that the king of Israel had rent his clothes, that he sent to the king, because he's afraid. He's saying, this guy going to kill me if I don't deliver him, wipe my people out. So he's putting him in the crosshairs, as you could say, of war. And it was so when Elisha, the man of God, had heard that the king of Israel had rent his clothes, that he sent to the king, saying, Wherefore hast thou rent thy clothes? Let him come now to me. So Elisha's thinking, oh, he's repenting of all the evil and idols and stuff. Let him come to me, and he shall know that there is a prophet in Israel. So Naaman came, and with his horses, and with his chariot, and stood at the door of the house of Elisha. And Elisha sent a messenger unto him, saying, Go, and wash in Jordan 7 times. Remember what I said? I started out saying a man of God never looks like a man of God. It's just simple obedience to what the man of God tell you. Like Jesus took, so sometimes Jesus spoke and the blind were healed. In one occasion he took some spit, mixed it with dirt and made a mud pie out of it and put it on the blind man's eyes. It's no, God's man is unorthodox is what I'm trying to tell you. There's no set pattern, no set way. Just simple obedient faith. It's irrelevant. You just have to have the faith to believe. Belief is an action, but act on what the man of God tells you because simple obedient faith. Now you're about to learn something. I read all that to get to this. And Elijah sent a message to him saying, Go and wash in the Jordan River 7 times, and thy flesh shall come again to thee, and thou shalt be clean. Simple, obedient order that he's given. But listen, but Naaman was wroth and went away and said, behold, I thought, here we go, a perceptual set of what a man of God should do, how he should handle his business. I thought he would surely come out to me and stand and call on the name of the Lord his God and strike his hand over the place and recover the leper. See, he had an image in his head of what a man of God, how he's supposed to conduct his business, his miracle business. Or not a bonner, and he's thinking I'm royalty. He's treating me like a commoner. That's another thing to pick up on. It'd be like President Trump coming, or just to give you a scenario. Say, God forbid, he was got a sick ailment or something, and they send for Brother Jay to come pray over the president. I said, no, I'm busy. tell President Trump to go in the refrigerator and get a red apple out and eat the whole apple and face east. Face toward the east. Look out the window and face east, and he'll be healed. And he said, what? I thought he was going to come and lay hands on him and pray over me. That's how the king feels. He feels slighted. He would surely come out to me and stand and call on the name of the Lord. I thought I'd get an audience with the prophet. He would surely come out to me and stand and call on the name of the Lord his God and strike his hand over the place and recover the leper. Are not Abana and Paphra rivers of Damascus? He said, what's wrong with the rivers I got? He's in Syria now. He said, what's wrong with my rivers? Why I got to come way over to the Jordan River?